Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back to Canon for the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world. So Monday is like the last live show that I'm going to be doing before I head off onto my holidays. So I won't be doing any more live content. I'm going to leave that for somebody else to do. Yeah, so welcome back to the Monday show where we're going to be, I say we, two people. I'm waiting for James Rowe just to come into the waiting room. We're going to be reviewing Champions League action tomorrow. Yes, Sevilla back in action again. Football. See you on the other side of this music intro. Yes, welcome back again to Canon for the TV. Once I get comfortable in this chair, I'm gonna get piles. Welcome back to Canon for the TV, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world. So before the bump, I did say it's going to be the last live show that I do before I head out to Central America, Costa Rica, for just short of 2 weeks. So I might just do one video out there. It won't be a live show, probably pre-record. I've got lots of people I need to meet and catch up with, and I need to leave Canon 42 in capable hands. Capable hands, yeah. Glenn Wynn, it's all on your shoulders, man. Anyway, let's get into one segment before we start the show. James Rowe, still waiting for the man himself. But it's kind of one new segment I just kind of picked up on in regards to the goalkeeper situation. And this person, is it Richard Keys? He believes that David Raya will cost Arsenal the Premier League title. It'll take a lot more than one person, Mr. Keys. Yeah, Arsenal star David Raya will cost the club the Premier League title if he remains ahead of Aaron Ramsdale in the pecking order. And that's according to Richard Keys. What does Richard Keys do? Richard Keys doesn't know. Richard Keys doesn't know anything at all about that. But he just thinks that Raya will cost Arsenal the Premier League title. David Raya will end up costing Arsenal a title this season. There's no way he's an upgrade on Ramsdale, said Keys. And Gary Neville has raised fears over Raya's form and thinks he's been the victim of a situation that Mikel Arteta has created. So on the tail of that, I kid you not, the main man has entered the building.
Hey, thank you very much.
How's it going? How's it going, James?
Very well. Quite nervous ahead of tomorrow. I will wager that tomorrow's the biggest game of the season.
Oh my goodness!
I do. Right. I do, because tomorrow will dictate to what happens.
Not sure what's happened there
this season.
Yeah. One of the biggest games.
Yeah. I think it's the biggest game this season. I really do, because we're going up against a team that's won 7 Europa Leagues since 2006. We've reached one final and lost. They've got massive European pedigree. They've got fantastic players. They're playing at home. English sides against Spanish sides. I'm looking forward to it, but I think it's got a draw written all over it, Alex.
Oh, Jason's already laid down the saber. Is a draw. Well, listen.
I think Lens will win in France.
Really?
I do. I did say to you, if Lens get at least a point against Arsenal, they'll get through that group. And at the moment, they've got 4 points out of 6 with a double header against PSV. And I think they'll win at home. I'm not sure if they'll win in Eindhoven, but I think they'll win in northern France. And for all the money and for all the billions of pounds spent and for all the floggers and for all the hustle and bustle, hopefully we'll have a last 16 that have got maybe Lens and Real Sociedad in it, showing that the collective can also beat the stars. Because without the collective, the stars can't shine.
Yeah, absolutely. But talking about stars, James, so we heard over the course of the weekend that the passing of Bobby Charlton, one of the penultimate members of the winning World Cup side of 1966, lauded by the Man United faithful, and record goal scorer as well for England. Any thoughts, James? You wanna pass on?
Well, I put on my LinkedIn, it's a real football legend has passed on. Someone who gave so much to the game, and gave so much to England, gave so much to his club. A fantastic gentleman as well. It's just an amazing football man that the nation has lost, and thoughts with all his family and friends. And this will shock a few young uns, but there was a time where Real Madrid busted a gut to try and get Bobby Charlton. But this was the time players didn't go abroad so easily, and they literally couldn't get hold of him because he was so dedicated to Manchester United and so dedicated to England. So it just goes to show. But a wonderful footballing man, and a great attitude. I think in this day and age, the attitude that the older players had, it's just their attitude and love for the game. To play the game. To be able to play it and be able to play at the highest level. And, some of Charlton's amazing goals. I mean, I saw the goal they're showing at Anfield with the outside of the boot. I'd never seen that goal before. I'd seen the famous one, obviously, against, I believe, Benfica and the World Cup. In the World Cup, he scored as well when England went on to win the competition. But that goal against Liverpool at Anfield, what an amazing goal that was.
Yeah, and as well, he was survivor of the Munich air crash that took so many lives of the Man United squad there. Yeah. But
to only be, I think 20 years old. So to be 20 years old and to have gone through such a traumatic experience and to go on to achieve what he did. It just goes to show the mark of the man, really. And the Busby Babes are sorely missed because they were literally so far ahead of their time. It was scary.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what they would have achieved together, but I'm sure they would have achieved greatness. But for Bobby to have lost all his friends and his teammates, and for him to still be alive, I'm sure it served as a great motivation for him going forward. But just a marvellous man, and the country will sorely miss a footballing legend and a true gentleman.
James, quick question: the greatest English player to have played for England?
Sir Bobby Charlton.
Yeah.
Yes, Sir Bobby Charlton. If you break it down, in my humble opinion, the greatest player to play for England, the greatest footballer the country ever produced, Sir Bobby Charlton. But if you break it down into positions, the greatest goalkeeper the country ever produced, Gordon Banks. Greatest defender the country ever produced, Sir Bobby Moore. Greatest midfielder the country ever produced, Sir Bobby Charlton. And the greatest striker in Jimmy Greaves. And to think that that was the spine of 66.
Yeah.
People love to talk about 66 being in England. And one of the reasons why England won it was that. The reason why England won it is because they had, in certain positions, the greatest spine and the greatest. Can you imagine those four being in the same team? I mean, even obviously with Jimmy Greaves' links to Tottenham and this being an Arsenal podcast, for all this day and age, if you think of the pitches, if you think of the lack of protection that players received, you can score as many goals as you like, but you wouldn't have been able to do it in the era that they did it. So I think people really, really do need to remember. We're in an age where it's all about the Instagram and all about the pouting for the masses, and football seems to come on at the third place. I mean, I spoke to a friend of mine who went to a seminar in Germany where Alexander Frey, a former Swiss player who I believe was their top goal scorer of all time, he was also a manager, and he was also saying that the current generation are so fragile, and where's the next generation coming from? Because I'm not interested in the colour of your boots. I'm not interested in how many Instagram followers, whether you can play the game and you can impress me as a football fan. I mean, Alfonso Pedraza, we've spoke about him on this channel many times. He's now a fully fledged Spanish international. So I'm delighted for him. I'm delighted because it's great as a football man to recognise a good player, and your eyes don't lie. Your eyes don't lie. I don't need to be told by a flogger who's good. I don't need to be told by an influencer who's a good player. I've got my own eyes, and they're certainly not looking at what I'm looking at, because when did you ever hear them mention the word Alfonso Pedraza?
Yeah.
You know, and I think he's a brilliant footballer, and you know, his tactical acumen, positional discipline, and attitude is what really got me. So I'm delighted for him, and yeah, it's always nice to recognise a good player.
Yeah, but James, you know what it is, isn't it? I mean, part also is ignorance, not having the bandwidth of knowledge across the leagues in Europe. But also, again, if this player had a certain amount of more zeros attached to his name, then maybe the fan base would have taken some interest in the player. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, maybe, but we've also got a fan base who seems to think that resale value is vitally important. So never mind trophies, never mind silverware on a sideboard, it's retail value. That's why nobody wanted Antoine Griezmann. When Griezmann, I don't know if you saw the pass for the goal which led to the French goal here in the Netherlands. It looks so easy, but it's not. He's a brilliant footballer, Antoine Griezmann. And yeah, I've always... I have a little book, I write down my find of the season, going back all the way from Diego Godin and Ricardo Escayao and Benjamin Borigio and Alfonso Pedraza, of course. And I think I found my early candidate for this year. The prize doesn't get at the end of the season, but I've got a name in mind who I rate, and be very interesting to see how his career blossoms.
Yeah, and actually, just a quick honorary mention. The Villa are not doing too bad, are they, James?
Well, yeah, might not remember, but Aston Villa have won something we have not, and they won it having a decade previously started out in the third division, and to have gone from the third division where they had to sell players, they had to make ends meet, to go on to construct a European Cup winning side and to beat Bayern Munich in the final in Rotterdam is still criminally underrated. Criminally underrated. I remember when I did my interviews many years ago now, and I tried to get in touch to speak to Ron Saunders, and I was told by a close friend of his that he leads a very, very quiet life. And you don't hear a peep out of him, and that's something that you have to respect, because I still couldn't believe that here is a man with so much experience, but you don't hear from him. But Aston Villa is a massive football club. They're in the top 6 of English football. They, to have won 11 Premier League games in a row. I don't mind who comes at me or whatever people say, but where would Arsenal be if they'd have shown the same loyalty and respect, above all, to Unai Emery that they're showing to Mikel Arteta?
Yeah,
I think we'd have a league title. I think we'd have come close in Europe. I'm not saying we would have won it, but I think if we'd have shown Unai Emery the same loyalty and above all respect that we're falling over ourselves to show Mikel Arteta now, I think we'd have a league title, and I think we would have made inroads in Europe.
But James, like you said to me in the message, because we've been exchanging messages, Arsenal's lost is the Villa's game.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think they'll win the Conference League. And then if they do, that's West Ham and Aston Villa that have won European trophies before we have. And they haven't had 25 years of participation. They haven't had the embarrassment of losing 10-2 on aggregate to Bayern Munich. They haven't had the embarrassment of losing to Ostersund and losing to Monaco. West Ham are 17 matches unbeaten in Europe. And regardless of opposition, it's a fantastic achievement for them. When was the last time how many times I don't know what our best record is in Europe, because we don't take Europe seriously, and that's why tomorrow is so important, because I kid you not, Alex, if we limp out at the Champions League group stage in the last opportunity we have to win this famous competition, I would pull the trigger on Arteta there and then. I would. I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, And no trophy, no job is what I'm sticking to. My mantra this season regarding Mikel Arteta: no trophy, no job. Simple as. But if we do get knocked out in a group phase, then you got to pull the trigger. Because how can you have such an attitude in the last chance saloon of a tournament that you've never won? And you've got so much experience in that competition. I mean, I prioritised European games many years from Amsterdam, all the way up until recent away days. And I still can't quite believe I've seen so much experience and witnessed Champions League firsthand, but never seen my team win it. And one thing we must talk about tonight: will the Arsenal Football Club please stop referring to the Arsenal made their Champions League debut against Lens in 1998? No, we did not. Arsenal made their European Cup, clues in the name, bow in 1971 against Strømsgodset of Norway. They went on to beat Strømsgodset, they went on to beat Grasshoppers Zurich, and then they got knocked out by arguably the finest side that Ajax Amsterdam ever created. So there's no shame in that. This was a time where you had to win your league to gain entry. And I think it's highly disrespectful of the club to be so disingenuous to the 71-72 season, where we made our maiden voyage in a European competition, in the European Cup, reaching the quarterfinals, and it could have all been so different. And
but then why has the club done that, James? Why? It's part of our history, isn't it?
It's all about the views. It's all about releasing 4 kits, Alex. 80 quid a pop. That's £320. My first wages as a full-time employee when I was a young man was £182 a week. I'm not on that now, but everyone's got to start somewhere. But I just, we just seem to have. I just think it's so disrespectful. Here's a question for you: how disingenuous the club has been to the 71-72 team, which made our maiden voyage in the European Cup. Do you think they would be remembered if they'd won it?
Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would they be remembered if they won it? Because I find it incomprehensible how they're not. Why not say, again, small details? You could say our debut away to Lens in 98 was our first participation in the competition since its rebranding. We played in the European Cup in the 71-72 season, where we reached the quarterfinals. It's the same cup. It weighs the same. It looks the same. Obviously, we've never lifted it, and I doubt we ever will. But I just think it's completely wrong. It's just, it's not Arsenal Football Club anymore, is it? It's Arsenal Fashion Club.
Yeah. Well, anyway, just seen one comment from Colin who says that he loves the reference to Unai Emery, and if only. Yeah.
Well, football has a funny way of coming back to bite you in the behind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Arsenal's last game in the Champions League group is PSV, away from home. Who have they got 3 days before? Away to Aston Villa at Villa Park. So there you go. There you go. And as I say, I will always stick to my opinions. I think tomorrow is going to be really tough. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, but if we lose, I fear the worst.
Yeah.
Because if we lose, that means that we've got to win 2 of our last 3, maybe even all of them, and I don't know if we can do that.
Yeah, James, there's a question for you here. Actually, I haven't got into the main nuts and bolts of the segment, but Emerson says for James, question: did you manage to get a ticket for the Lens match?
Not in the ballot, unfortunately. I'm relying on a favour from my good friend. So I'm waiting on him to hopefully come through for me. But the ballot system as well is, all in the name of fairness. All in the name of fairness. But the membership prices are very expensive. People don't pay those membership prices just to be in with a sniff of a ticket. It was only last season that you could log in and pick your spot. So what's happened? And so I'm hopeful of my friend helping me, but I haven't been successful in not a single ballot this year at home. So very much a sign of the times. Thank goodness for all my games in previous years, because if you wanted to do it now, you've got no chance at all.
Yeah, the memories, we have our memories. Anyway, so whilst James just goes off very quickly, the history, our history at least, playing against Sevilla. I did a little bit of homework, although I wasn't, known for doing homework at school or actually college. 2007, one each, one win and one loss. And you can see there the last time we did face them was in November 2007, and the win for Sevilla. James. James.
I had a Spanish lesson that night and I couldn't watch it.
James.
It's true. I was learning Spanish at that time. I'd started my course in September, and I really wanted to watch that game, and I was torn whether to skip my lesson. But I thought, no, you've got to make sacrifices. So I never saw that game, and I'll be listening tomorrow on the radio, and I'm hopeful that Arsenal will put in a good performance. But if we lose, and I think if we lose and Lens win, then it's going to be really, really tight indeed.
Yeah. Well, I just kind of checked out where they lie in their own respective league, and they're 13th. But don't let that fool you at all. It's going to be one of the sternest tests, maybe the biggest test for Arsenal thus far of the season. But James, I want to ask you, which player or players do you think are going to pose a danger to Arsenal come tomorrow?
Well, I think Sevilla also have a new manager in Diego Alonso.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. World Cup. They drew with Real Madrid at the weekend. They should have beaten. Really, they had chances. Those goals cleared off the line. Ivan Rakitic is a sublime footballer, full of creativity. Jesus Navas is a first-class professional. Sergio Ramos as well. Mm-hmm. He's not just back there to pick up a paycheck. He's fighting hard. And also the aerial presence of Youssef El Nasiri. And we've got to try to keep those four quiet. I would take a draw now, I must say. I would take a draw now, but it's going to be really interesting to see how it goes. But we've got to take it seriously, because, as I said, our European form in Europe it's not been great. Last season, drawing in Lisbon, losing in Eindhoven, you can't turn it on like a tap. And the first test we faced in northern France against Lens, we failed. So let's hope we don't fail the second one. Otherwise, we're in big trouble.
Yeah. What I did actually, James, we did a poll. Not that it means much on the platform. Predictions. So we've received like 34 votes so far, and 12% of the votes say it's going to be a win for Sevilla. 3% believe it's going to be a draw, and 85% don't know what you're talking about. Believe it's going to win for Arsenal.
But again, it's as if we haven't won the Champions League, but I think our public relations team, I think they've won it about 15 times. I think they've won it more times than Real Madrid. And that's fine if you've got something to back it up. If you've got something to back it, if we were sitting here with 5 Champions League titles, then fair enough.
Yeah.
But we're not.
Yeah.
We have had 25 years experience in this competition, and we haven't won it once. There are 23 teams that have won this tournament. We haven't. This tournament is filled with nearly men. From Tottenham to Dundee to Hibernian to Roma to us. This tournament is filled with nearly men. And this is the last chance. Because next season it goes to a Super League and everything but name. So even if you win it next year, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything next year because all it's doing is closing ranks and closing the shop. It's literally ensuring that only 6 or 7 teams can win it for the next 3 to 5 years. That's all it's doing. So that's why I'm pleased that Lens are on the threshold of the last 16, and Real Sociedad as well. If we can't win it, I'd love a team that's never won it before to win it. Real Sociedad, for example, Lens, for example, But our attitude in this competition has just been, we've been invited to the party, we're pleased to go. Okay, but what did we do to get the invite? Did we do anything special? Did we just, people don't. When they look back to Arsenal in the Champions League, they're going to look back to that one season where we're 1-0 up in a final and we don't win it. We don't win it. I mean, it remains the most painful defeat, but fast forward 17 years and you've got the bench cam at Man City, so that makes everything all right. Yeah. And I just don't get it. I mean, there's a wonderful saying in the Netherlands that translates to "you live your life in periods." And my period of going to Arsenal games from Amsterdam is slowly coming to an end. But I'm at peace with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. But thank goodness I've got my memories because nobody can take them away from me. Because if you was an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old starting out now, especially in a ballot system, you got no chance of attending the amount of games that I did. But also the sacrifices made as well. With European football, I was. I've been fortunate to do so much, and I'm very, very grateful. But I can't believe I've seen so much European football, but I haven't seen my team win a European trophy since I was 11.
Yeah, incredible. And it's not going to happen anytime soon anyway, James. That's just, my prediction. I think we won't make it. We won't make it out from the group stage, but that's just my opinion.
If we don't make it out on the group stage, Arteta should be sacked on the spot.
Yeah, but he's not going to get sacked, James.
No, it should be, Alex.
Yeah, I know.
Because since this draw was made, the group's been kind. Yeah. I'm not talking about the level of the group. That's one part of the equation. The main part is this is our last chance to win it properly before we have never, ever won it. And we never, ever will win it. And to go into the last attempts and to go out at the first hurdle just smacks of complete and utter amateurism. So that's why I say my situation regarding Arteta, no trophy, no job. And I'm sticking to that. Sticking to that. You can chop and change your goalkeeper. You can say how much Pochettino was an idol for you. He's not your mate. He's your opposition manager. He's not your mate. He's your opposition manager. But again, it's all about every word from Mikel's presser. Who cares about Mikel Arteta's presser? I don't think I've sat down and watched one of them. But I do remember something that George Graham said many, many years ago. Arsenal signed David Seaman and John Lukic was one of the best goalkeepers in the country. And George Graham said the following. He said, we've got nothing against John Lukic. John Lukic is one of the top 6 goalkeepers in the country. But I just think David Seaman is the best. And look what happened. Simple, isn't it? Simple. But what we're chopping and changing now. And as I said earlier, Alex, as well, I feel for Ramsdale. I was in Eindhoven last October. I was at the home game against Zurich. Ramsdale didn't have the greatest games in European football, but he can't atone for his errors. He can't atone for them. And for that, I feel for him because he'd be highly motivated to do so.
Yeah. Let's go into some of the live chat actually. We've got again Emerson who says, "Good evening, have a good holiday." Thank you. I am off on my holiday / business trip this coming Friday to Central America. So thank you for that, Emerson. He goes, "Afternoon, James. Another tricky away Champions League match at Sevilla are a draw specialists at home, and I agree with you and your points.
Yeah, no, Emerson always makes good points. You know, this is a channel for Arsenal fans, young and old. There is no discrimination here. Everybody's welcome, but you've also got to be real. You know, you've got to respect what's gone before. And there are 23 teams that have won the Champions League, and we're not one of them. I could live with that if we'd only played 5 Champions League seasons in our history. I could live with that. If we'd only played 5 seasons in our entire history, I could say, okay, fair enough. But not 25, and also not a club refusing to acknowledge our very first European Cup run, where we got beaten by the famous Ajax side that went on to win their second of 3 in a row.
I don't know what's happened to my club. Anyway, Colin says, get it, Alex, come on, Slacker, smash that like button and open your ears. James Rowe will enlighten your Arsenal experience.
It's a good one. I like that one. It's a nice introduction. I like it. But European football has always been my bread and butter. Always. But, I'm just hopeful that I did say we'd finish second, and I'm sticking to it. But we've got to get something in Spain tomorrow, because to all the run up to Champions League. Oh, I can't wait to hear the anthem. Well, I heard it enough times, and then we got battered. So I can don't have to hear it anymore. But for all that fanfare, Alex, to lose 2 of your first 3, what's going on here?
James.
You know,
Boy, good evening, says even Alex said this will be a tricky fixture. Arteta must assemble the strongest lineup and not underrate them like he did with Chelsea in the Premier League. We almost lost everything in that game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
if it were not,
and he has to show his mate a bit of respect, doesn't he?
James.
You know, never mind trying to win the thing. As I say, I can't understand all this. To have full seasons and immense financial backing, if you don't deliver a trophy this year, that's got to be it. That has got to be it, because where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
Or do we have 5 years, 6 years, 7 years? Maybe you can equal us and Bengal and go for 9 years without a trophy.
James.
Let's be real now. People need to understand what's going on. We Arsenal Football Club, 13 league titles, 14 FA Cups, 47 major honours. Only 2 of them in Europe, mind, but at least they're there. And tomorrow is so important. I think tomorrow is really going to dictate the remainder of the calendar year, most definitely, and also what will happen to us in Europe.
James, just a quick question before I go further into the live chat. And again, I've never called for any manager to be sacked. It's everyone's opinion. But do you think he's gone past his sell-by date at Arsenal? Do you think he should have gone a lot sooner? Do you think he should have been sacked a lot sooner, James?
The proper Arsenal board would have sacked him for giving away a 10-point lead. A proper Arsenal board of Danny Fisman, Ken Fryer, Peter Hillwood, David Dean, a proper Arsenal board would have sacked him for giving away a 10-point lead. And then the crocodile tears of, I was maybe going to resign. Crocodile tears. You're exceptionally lucky. And as I say, for all the fanfare, no trophy, no job. But if we don't get out of this group, then I'd pull the trigger now.
Yeah. All right. Nice name handle here. Granddaddy Gooner. Good evening, Granddaddy Gooner. He says that we have 5 players with Champions League experience. If we were in the Conference League, we would have won it with our second team. Let's not compare it to where we are.
Well, I'd like to see us in the Conference League. Just to see how we get on.
James, behave yourself.
No, but seriously, people need to understand this. If you take a step back, look at the teams that have won European competitions in the last decade. Take a look. Frankfurt have won a competition. Villarreal have won a competition. Manchester City have won a competition. Thinking off the top of my head, Sevilla seven times, of course. Champions League, just thinking off the top of my head, with obviously Real Madrid, obviously Porto back in 2004 when we had a brilliant chance. The fact remains, we have had so many Champions League experiences, so many European experiences, and not won any of them. So if you haven't won any of them, how on earth are you going to win a Conference League? How on earth are you going to win one?
Yeah. And by the way, West Ham have also won European trophies.
Yeah, but their attitudes, and people forget they were knocked out of the Europa League at the semi-final stage the previous season. So they used that heartache, they bundled up that heartache and say, right, we're going to go into the Conference League and we're going to win it. And they did. And that's exactly what we should be doing. But we look at it as, oh, we're back at the top table, the Champions League back at the Emirates. Okay, Champions League was also at Highbury and we got whipped then. I remember losing to Auxerre, who are now a French second division team. I remember losing to them 2-1 when I had the likes of Capo and Mexes. I just believe that our attitude to European football, it's not been good enough. It's not been good enough. And people can dress it up as much as they want. 25 Champions League campaigns and not one of them resulted in success. It's a bit embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah. Glenn Wynn, aka Guna Mattis, says, good evening, Alex and James. The assembled is in the house, and he says, or she says, or they say, that even gentlemen, our manager is a lucky man. How he has avoided the sack is absolutely remarkable.
Well, I think what's even more remarkable is to start your managerial career at factually the third biggest club in the entire country. Where do you think you're going to go? Where are you going to go after that? Barcelona or Paris Saint-Germain? Are you that good? You know? But no, it's a bit of a vanity project because, you know, he's a legend. Is he a legend? He played for Arsenal. He was brought on deadline day to provide a body for Champions League football. That's why he was brought. And I believe Arteta was brought for 11 million quid.
Not a legend.
No, he's not. No, but people will say that he is.
Yeah.
People will say that he is. To be in any industry, Alex, and to start at the top, where do you think you're going to go? Where do you think you're going to go after that? You know, so I just I don't dress it up. I've been saying the entire season, no trophy, no job. But I maintain, if we don't get through this group, I'd pull the trigger there and then in Eindhoven.
James.
I'll be in the Netherlands. I might be able to do it myself. Figuratively speaking, obviously not physically.
James, Granddaddy Guna says, so every manager that doesn't win one of 4 trophies up for grabs should be sacked.
No.
He's had how many years?
No. I'll repeat it very carefully. Our current manager, at the end of this season, would have had 4 full seasons to win with his own players, coupled with immense financial backing. Now, I believe that 4 full seasons coupled with immense financial backing is enough time to prove that you can win with your own players. Because, yes, he did win an FA Cup, but he only took the job 5 months previously. And it wasn't any of his players that he brought in, methods that needed to be implemented and that kind of thing. We're grateful that Aubameyang obviously turned up in that final. But it's the fact that he would have had 4 full seasons and immense financial backing, which is leading me to say what I'm saying. I don't expect Arsenal to win a trophy every year, but it would be nice to be in the hunt. If you go through our history, Alex, we've always had barren spells from 53 to 70 to 71, from 71 to 89 in terms of titles and that kind of thing. But in the case of Arteta, 4 full seasons. It's not a vanity project. We're not a charity. We are factually the 3rd biggest club in the whole of the country. And we need to start putting silverware on the sideboard.
Yeah. And I'm glad that James framed it, put it in context. We're not saying in one particular season, his first season, he's got to win one of the 4 trophies. If he doesn't, he's sacked. He's had 4 seasons.
Full.
So
anyway. Including transfer windows.
Yeah.
And David was David De Gea, was it necessary? But I can tell you why it was necessary, because they will buy David De Gea in the summer and they will sell Aaron Ramsdale for an awful lot of money. So it's a business decision, isn't it? It's not a footballing decision, is it? It's a business one. But if it results in no trophy, then what does that matter?
Yeah. And actually, put even furthermore in context, how long did the board give Unai Emery?
18 months.
18 months. 18 months.
18 months. But again, to have Signelli battering down your dressing room door. I don't hear people taking the piss out of Arteta's English, do you?
No, I don't. No.
But he's also Spanish. He's also Basque. Same region, same country. What's the difference? So obviously people don't like it.
Yeah.
Like Koscielny running away like a little child. Oh, I don't want to play for Unai Emery. Oh, Wenger was my mate. Yeah. That's why you played 250 times for Arsenal when you shouldn't have even played 50.
Anyway, let's kind of wrap this one up. So Colin says, I bet Grandpa Guna was celebrating how easy our Champions League group was.
Well, yeah, but again, it's opinion.
Exactly. Yeah.
Lens, 3 years ago, Lens were a second division team. And now they're a Champions League team. PSV domestically have won every single Eredivisie game this season and have a goal difference of plus 27 already. And Sevilla, obviously, with 7 Europa League titles since 2006. This isn't FIFA. This is real life. And as I say, I've always been interested with European football ever since I was a kid, but thank goodness for my memories.
Yeah. Let's run through this last few comments here. Colin says, oh, I know James, Arteta on loan, which he means, sack Arteta. Well, yeah.
No, but I've been on this channel. I've been on this channel speaking about European football for, I think, 5 seasons. I've always remained consistent. I've always remained respectful. Always enjoyed different questions. I will always give everybody the time of day. But I put this out to the Arsenal community. Please be aware that there are only 23 teams that have won the Champions League, and we are not one of them. But they haven't all had the same level of experience in the competition that we've had. We look at it as a money-making exercise, not as a silverware-making exercise. It's all about money, but it's like self-perpetuation. What's going to happen to the next generation? Oh, you want to come down and see my QR codes from the games? You know, everything's all digital now. Yeah, you see the Instagram of so and so. He's brilliant. Can't kick a ball 10 yards, but he's got a great Instagram. Is this what we're arranging for the next generation? And also as well, many of the names I've spoken about that are unknown. Now, if you look closely, in the case of Alfonso Pedraza, is now a fully fledged Spanish international. I don't pick names out of thin air. I pick names that I've physically seen with my own eyes, either on television or being at a match. So that's the difference.
James, you know what we're going to do? We are going to create our own football club, and you're going to be my chief scouts. Okay. A football writer for the club. I'm going to employ you, James.
Okay. No, it would be nice. It would be nice. But, we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah. James, thank you for your overtones. Again, your experience, your bandwidth is so wide, so broad.
Thank you.
I have trouble keeping up with you.
Yeah, I'm grateful for all the questions. People might see me a little bit more riled up tonight, but it's because we have never won this competition. This is the last chance to win it.
We're not going to win it, James, because like you say, the attitude has always been wrong. And I can't see our attitude, our experience, and not learning from when we got beaten by Inter.
No, absolutely. But you always hold out hope that wouldn't it be typical Arsenal in the last dying embers to win it properly the way it should be done, like moving Highbury. Getting to that Champions League final in our last season at Highbury. Nobody expected that. Nobody expected that at all. So it's the hope that kills you. But I just think to limp out in the group stage, honestly, but the bells must toll for Eindhoven that very night, and it's an early kickoff as well, so he doesn't even have to get the plane home.
James. Anyway, this has been my last live show before I go on my travels, and what a better way to head out and spending the last 45 minutes with my good friend James Rowe. James, thank you so very much. Like you said, it's about opinions. We're not going to always agree.
Also being respectful.
Absolutely.
I'll leave you with this. I'm at a turnstile outside the Emirates, queuing up to go in for the Monaco game in March 2015. I'm about to get my ticket and my membership card. Now it's all QR code. Then you put your membership card. And there was a guy behind me that said the following: "Yeah, we'll batter this mob 4-0 tonight. They're nothing." Upon which I turned around and said to him, "Excuse me, you are aware that this Monaco side topped a group with Bayer Leverkusen, Zenit St. Petersburg, and Benfica. So they're obviously a good football team. We will win tonight, but we certainly will not win 4-0. Arsenal lost 3-1. And Monaco had Berbatov, Subasic, Kondogbia, Carrasco come on as sub. And then when that goal went in from Carrasco to make it 3-1, if you look at the images behind the goal, you'll see a guy wearing a red jacket, which is me, and another guy. Everybody else up and left. I hope to dear God that if I'm at the Lens game, the same thing doesn't happen. Because if it does, I shall have some things to say."
James, did you go to the Olympiacos game at the Emirates?
I went to the Olympiacos game when Chalobah literally tied Bakary Sagna in knots in the 2-1 win in the Champions League in September 2011. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain scored. I believe Andres Santos also scored, and I believe David Fuster scored for Olympiacos.
James. Anyway, James, thank you for giving us your undivided time on this Champions League. James, I'm not even going to ask you a prediction, but I'll give you my prediction.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 1-0. 1-0 Sevilla.
Oh, goodness.
1-0 Sevilla. Anyway, James, be silence. All right. James.
Okay, we'll speak soon. Have a great time.
Oh, there you go. I think he's just lost connection there. Anyway, guys, that's it. Thank you, James. Thank you. And that's it. So next time you'll see me will be in over 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks' time. And meanwhile, step into my shoes or the hot seat will be Guna Matters, aka Glenwyn, or Glenwyn, aka Guna Matters. This has been James. Thank you very much. Cannon Fodder, the channel for Arsenal fans all over this world.